and welcome to the latest edition of What Does the Giraffe Say with me, Kathleen Matorne. We're an organisation that aims to connect people around the world with conservation and wildlife efforts through holding interviews on social media. Today, I am very happy because I am joined by Will and Kate from Voice of the Donkey, and they're going to be talking to us about their work in rural Zimbabwe. So if I could just hand over to you guys, tell us a little bit about yourselves and how the organisation started.
Well, I think I've had a passion for horses and donkeys and anything equine all my life. I was from a very young age. So my parents finally managed to buy me a pony, which they paid off. They bought him from a friend and they paid him off. And yeah, gradually as I got older and learning with my horse, I learned how important the horses of all and any equines really are to us, and how they help us. So Zimbabwe is my home, and it is for both of us, and it's where we were born. And I've lived in South Africa and I've lived in Ireland. And while in Ireland, I worked for the Donkey Sanctuary there for 15 years as a donkey welfare advisor. And while I was working, I was out on the road and I did a lot of complaint calls and advice calls and so on. And I used my previous knowledge and passion for that, as well as all the training that I got and the knowledge that I gained from working with the Donkey Sanctuary. And I really wanted to just help and better people to better understand their donkeys, and to not just work the donkey, making the donkey's life better, but making possibly owners' lives better as well, because there are all over the world, there are people who really don't understand, and they've just got a donkey that's pushed away and it doesn't. And gradually, if you work with them to understand the donkey, they realize the worth of that donkey for many reasons. And Will and I met up again after many years, and we share this equine passion. And I hadn't realized that he'd been involved in donkeys as well. So that was something extra. And we decided to take a trip home and see what we could do for just to help the donkeys and to raise awareness for the donkeys in Zimbabwe, because they are very close to our hearts, obviously being our home. And while doing all of this, we started up Voice of a Donkey, and it was to raise awareness and promote the donkeys, using seeing life through the eyes of a donkey, a working donkey, not just a pet, but an actual working donkey. And we wanted to gather support for our work, which we did, and we had some wonderful people from all around the globe helping us in various ways, little donations and things like that. So we were able to start a project that was, we brought in mineral blocks, which we distributed to a lot of the areas, and we got people to help us to actually be able to fund it and buy them. And we then got them through the borders by various ways and means. And we got them out, and they made a huge difference to the donkeys in the areas that we were, because they helped them through the very bad drought situation, where there was a lot of bad, there just wasn't food. It was very dry and so on. So we wanted to encourage and all the owners of donkeys, and that's also in not just Zimbabwe, owners of donkeys all over the world, to be able to have a more caring approach to the welfare and the looking after donkeys. And what we came up with, just our little sort of thing that we said, was helping people to help donkeys to help people, because bringing the donkey owners together to show the benefits of empathetic training and teaching and good animal welfare enabling better livelihoods for themselves. So that's me in a little nutshell so far.
Hi, my name is Will. I was born in Rhodesia, now Zimbabwe. At an early age, I learned to ride horses, and I was very involved with the local riding school, learning how to look after them. By the time I was 15, I decided to come to England and enroll in a farrier's apprenticeship, which set the basis, the foundation for my entire life's work with equine. I qualified as a farrier, an equine dentist, and as a riding instructor. My sort of emphasis is on stable management and the care of equine, which in turn enabled me to travel the world, basically helping people with their difficult horses that didn't fit into the normal realm, and instead of using force and aggression with them, using kindness and passion to win them over. Then about 4 years ago, I had this phone call from this person in Ireland that I hadn't spoken to for over 40 years. She had been a girlfriend of mine many years ago.
Yeah.
Anyway, she asked if I would donate some of my time coming over to Ireland and helping with the donkeys there, which I did. And we got together and we decided to pool our knowledge and to go out to Zimbabwe and help the people, to help the donkey, to help the people. So that's my story.
That's a really nice story. I love both of those stories. And I love the fact that that's what kind of brought you guys together as well. So often, when you think of donkeys, they're even called like a beast of burden and all these kind of things. They're often having to work in really difficult conditions, in extreme temperatures, environments, and also not necessarily getting the care that they need. Why do you think there is so many instances of these donkeys being mistreated, and then how do you try and change people's attitudes towards this?
It's okay. This is purely our opinion after spending a couple of years out there, specifically working in the rural areas. I think that there is a misconception through years ago of the teaching of people that they are beasts of burden, which is what we tend to look at them and saying that instead of them being beasts of burden, they are beasts to help us carry our burden, which is two completely different things. I mean, all of a sudden, we are now talking about an animal that's helping us. Now, do you want to hurt something that is helping you? You don't. So in our teachings, when we go, we sort of put this across, because aggression and abusive behavior, even in humans, it's a learned behavior. It's passed down from generation to generation. So in turn, you've got to break that cycle by getting to the adult and trying to educate the adult to change his ways. It's like they're saying, trying to teach an old dog new tricks. It's very difficult. So we target really the younger generation, the children, because they are the ones that really are looking after the donkeys. Now, if you see some of the work that we're doing, In some photographs, we don't even have a halter onto the donkeys. And the reason why we do this is specifically to show the people that you can do this without using all fancy gadgets, without people coming from the Western world and all of a sudden bringing all of these mechanisms that and these gadgets that they put on in order to work with the donkeys, with bringing tranquilizers to tranquilize them to enable you to do it. We specifically work not using as little equipment as possible, so that the people and the children can see by example that you don't have to use force, that you don't have to beat them into submission. With kindness, you'll get a long way. Then the other next thing that comes into account is really the fact that they don't look at the donkey as being worth anything. For some reason, the donkey, they don't eat donkey, you see, in Zimbabwe. So a donkey can't be sold for food. He can't be eaten. So therefore, he really doesn't have a value. So in our education program, first of all, when we get to an area, we assess the situation. We have a look and we see what food is available to be able to give the donkeys. How much money does this village earn? Does each person earn to be in that? There's no point in going in and teaching them to do something which they have got no way of performing. So after the assessment, basically, but it's nearly always that we have to show them the worth of the donkey. And we do that because the donkey carries their firewood, carries their water, takes their sick to the clinic. Now, if they had to employ somebody to do that, how much is that going to cost them? And then you times that by the day, by the week, by the year, and then now at the end of 3 or 4 years, that is now your value of your donkey. So it's with understanding the monetary value that then in turn you can get through to them the worth of the donkey. And it's basically it's getting onto their level. Now, I mean, we tend to think also that we come from the Western world here, so we are correct and they're wrong. You know, you're not gonna win that way. It's you don't go in and you don't have an aggressive approach and sort of say to the people that I'm your boss or I can, this is the way to do it. It's about going and speaking to them and winning them onto your side, where you get them, you build up that trust. The amount of people that have said to us, oh, well, when we posted a photo, and they've said to us, well, we hope that you've taken that donkey away from those people. Yes, it's very hard. And I'll tell you what, Kate and I went to bed at night in our little tent on top of the truck, and we cried and sobbed at what we had seen. And yes, we wanted to take away donkeys. I wanted to get out and beat them the way that they beat the donkey. But you can't do that because that word will go around and you won't have anybody's trust. Nobody will come to you and bring their donkeys so that we can have a look at. And it was slowly with continual, it was patience basically, and teaching the people, and by showing them kindness to show the donkey. You can't turn around and say, sort of emphasize kindness to the donkey and then clap him around the head.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work. So it's through kindness all the way around, and it's respect. It's mutual respect, and that is what you're teaching them. You're teaching them respect for another living creature.
Yeah, I love that. I think I completely agree with you. It's very easy to come at things with like a bit of a Western attitude, but you've actually got to approach things on what's realistic to be able to do on the ground and with what you have.
Exactly. You know,
So,
sorry, the, the you know, one of the biggest things that we had that we found that was very that they accepted was you know, I'd sort of pull out a knife and grab a guy's arm and sort of, and his eyes would get big like saucepans, you know.
Sounds awful.
And I'd say to him, right, if I cut your arm, are you going to bleed? And he had, yes, yes, and his eyes are big like that. I said to him, and if I cut the donkey, it's going to bleed too. So you have pain, so why shouldn't the donkey have pain?
yeah.
You know, well, so I tie up one leg and make him hop around for a few minutes on one leg. And then he got the picture of understanding when if a donkey is lame and having to walk around on three legs. So it was, you know, it was humor also for the people. The people enjoyed a laugh sometimes, and they were sometimes being serious, but sometimes being, you know, enjoying it.
Yeah, for sure. We've got a question coming through from Stacey Saddlefield, and she's asking, are the locals receptive and welcome to your teachings, and are you finding attitudes changing over treatment of the donkeys?
You can go.
Yeah, they are. They are very receptive of us. We even stop on the side of the road sometimes if we see somebody with donkeys, and we'll stop on the side of the road, chat to them, and they're very, very receptive. And yes, the attitudes are changing. They definitely are. When they can actually see how much better the donkeys are and what they can actually gain through the donkeys, their lives are made much better. So yeah, I believe that the treatment will change. As I said, it's in small areas, and then it will grow gradually. It will just grow, and the word will get out there.
I've just pulled up a picture here as well of some of the work that you're doing with the local communities, with the children. Can you talk to us a little bit about this?
Well, that was in one of the areas we were. We went in and just spoke to the children there. Obviously, we had to have interpreter, and you know, they're learning all the time, and they have so little. Those children have so little, and we wanted to try to engage with them on just a level of us trying to give a little bit to them. So we took a couple of classes at a time. And I mean, the classes are huge. There's so many children. In some classes, there's up to 52 children in a class. And they're all very, very eager to learn. So to talk to them and to explain about caring for the donkeys, they are receptive, and they do try to understand that it's not the best way to deal with donkeys when you're hitting them and when you're dragging them by the ear, and those are the things that we've got to try, and everybody's got to try and change, are the old ways. So yeah, that's basically what we would talk to them about. And we also put together a story of Lucky, and we read a story and gave him crayons and coloring books and things like that we made up. So yeah.
You know what?
Okay, we've got a comment.
Yeah.
No, go ahead, Rob.
Go ahead.
Oh no, they just are people that, you know, when they see us working with the donkey, and they see us that how easy we can work with it without using force. Because you see how young those kids are. They are no match for the donkey. So they use their sticks, they use ropes, they use chains, they use wire, whatever it takes for them to do, because the parents have told them to go and get the donkeys and hitch them up or do whatever. So it is through example that we show them that no, you can just, if you just ask the donkey, he'll do it for you.
Yeah.
And yes, we had to pick the donkeys, obviously. You go in and you get to sort of see a donkey looking at you and taking that step forward and being receptive, and you say, oh well, yeah, come and look at how we do this with the donkey. And next thing, they're all patting the donkey, and they do, it's stuff that you don't see them doing on normally when we first went there. I mean, we had people, I mean, the Lucky it's himself, when we pulled him out of the well, we are gone for for a good few hours. And when we came back to our base, where we were camping, all of us, we walked in there. Now, this is midday, and there was like 40 odd donkeys there.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'd already done 20 donkeys before we even went to go and help Lucky, his hooves and teeth. And so I looked at this and I thought, wow, man, how am I going to get through all of these? Went inside and I said to the guys there, the owners of the donkeys, I've already done these donkeys' hooves before. I did them last time I was here, these donkeys. Oh, yes, we did. We just brought the donkeys to show you how much better they are. Now, these guys had walked 10 kilometers to bring their donkeys to show us. Now, to me, that is proof that these people, yes, they do understand, and yes, you can get through to them to help.
You've touched on it a few times throughout our conversation, but for those of you people who are watching who aren't aware of the story, could you tell us a little bit about Lucky and how he's become a bit of an ambassador for you guys?
You can.
He has a bit, yeah. Lucky, we were shown a picture by one of the people in the area, and it was of a donkey. You see it on Facebook often, this donkey in a hole with its head back. And at first I thought it was just something that was passing, somebody had sent to somebody that was carrying on that way. And then we suddenly realized this donkey is just for real. And it was a bit, sort of away from the village in a riverbed. And when we got there, we actually thought that he was dead, because he'd been looking for water. Obviously, it was very, very dry. And what happens is riverbeds, there's deep down water. So they dig these deep holes into the sand, and then they push a 44-gallon drum. They cut off the bottom of it and put it in so that the water can soak up. It just soaks up in, and then the village can come and pull up their water whenever they want to. Well, obviously, they usually have thorn bushes around so that they can, like a barrier to stop anybody or any children going in or whatever. But the door, the little gateway had been left open, and poor old Lucky went down. He could smell the water. And then obviously, from what we deduced from it, was that he was trying to get out of there once he realized he couldn't reach the water. But he slipped down backwards into this drum. So he was caught under his front legs. And sort of when we got there, he was just lying back, and we honestly thought he was dead. But then Will went down with a head collar, put it onto him, checked him, put the head collar onto him, and then a whole group of people from the village got together, the whole community, a big group of people came in, and instead of just dragging him out, which would have really hurt his ribs and probably could have broken his ribs badly, they literally lifted him out by using the head collar and brute force, because he wasn't a small donkey. And he was.
But as we are picking him up, all the sand was also falling back down and on top of us as well.
Yeah.
So it was quite a sort of tricky operation.
Yeah.
I kind of had visions of everybody landing up at the bottom of this thing. But they got him out, and honestly, the most grateful donkey it's quite unbelievable how I stayed with him in the riverbed. Everybody else went back to the village, and I just stayed there. And somebody brought me a bowl of food and water and stuff. And
actually, it was one of the youngsters that we've been teaching, and that without even asking him, he went off, and we didn't see he had been there. I mean, they were all kids that we were teaching and whatever. He went off and he came back with this bowl of pods that are off a tree, and it was for Lucky to eat.
Yeah.
Because, and he had done that off his own, and that again is showing that empathy being taught to them was coming through. Yeah.
Understanding. But we gradually got him up through the river, through the riverbed. It took me ages, but I didn't want to push him because he was bruised, he was uncut. So we just literally went about.
And he was cramping up.
Yeah,
He had been in that drum all night.
He was.
So not being able to move. Yeah.
But anyway, we got him back eventually to where we were, and we kept him in where we were camping, and we looked after him there. And then his owner eventually came and found him, and he did go back to his owner. It was quite a sad, emotional day, but we couldn't hook him to the back of the truck and take him with us. So yeah, he did. He became quite a celebrity, and he's been great for us, actually. Old Lucky, he's given us that even more inspiration. Yeah. He has. Yeah.
He's
I mean, I know you've been writing a blog about his experience and all this kind of thing, and I think it's a really nice way of sharing that story in an easy way to understand, and also to feel a bit more of a connection and empathy towards the donkeys.
Yeah, no, he's when we had found his owner, because we didn't know who his owner was there, and when he we put out the word, we sent out photos to other people that had cell phones in the area so that they could pass it around, and then the owner arrived sort of like 2 days later. He didn't realize that where his donkey was, and he was in a village about 5 miles away. And anyway, he came every day for about 3 days, bringing food for the donkey, and while we taught him about how to take care of him, how to look after his wounds, his cuts on his legs, we gave him creams and stuff like that in order to put him. And I mean, it was amazing because it was the owner that changed his name to Lucky. He said he's a very lucky donkey. So we said, yeah, well, that's it. His name's now Lucky. So that's how he got his name. But, in the tent at night, we would sleep with the flap open because of the air and stuff. And in the morning, you see the donkey with his head over inside and sort of waking us up, asking us for food.
Yeah.
When the owner took him away, it was really heart-wrenching because he would walk like 5 paces and he would stop. The donkey would stop on his own and turn his head and look back on us. And I mean, it was really, I mean, wow, it was like sob time.
So going back into what we've been discussing, I know we touched on it briefly before we went actually live, that we can't talk about anything at the minute without discussing COVID and how it's impacting industries and personal lives and animals and all these kind of things. How has it been impacting your work, and is there anything that people can do to help support you during these times?
We feel very like a lot of people do, sort of, but exasperated. We've sort of thought, well, tomorrow will be better, next week will be better, next month things will open up. But essentially, we came back here to the UK to raise funds and to go around creating awareness, doing talks at church groups, everywhere, in order to help us get the funds necessary for our next leg, to go out there. And to, I mean, we've got huge sort of ideas there. I mean, we'd love to set up like donkey service stations where people in communities can come, and they're situated around in strategic areas of Zimbabwe, whereby people can come and bring their donkeys. We can have people there that are trained properly to be able to just service the donkey, look the donkey over, make sure that he's all right. If the harness is broken, fix the harness, put on. We introduced their reflective bands to go around their necks. That because these animals are let go at night, and the grass is always greener on the side of the road. So that's where they walk, and now they get hit by trucks at night, hit by cars. People, it causes bad accidents. People get killed. The donkeys are left on the side of the road to die. I mean, it's horrific stuff. So we want to be able to go and hand out these. We want the donkeys to be able to come in, and the people to come in and be able to feel safe at the point that their donkey is going to be, they're going to be helped with their donkey. To work also along closely with the state vets to be able to help us and things. But we've got all of these big sort of plans that we were going to go around and put across to people. But with this COVID restricted movement, we are unable to do it.
Yeah.
So that is what it sort of inspired us to do this blog of Lucky, and as a platform for us to basically, and that's how you found us,
Yeah.
is through that. Thank you. But it's this type of thing. We need to be getting out there. We need to be getting more support. You know, maybe some big company, you know, maybe one of these companies that are making all this money from this COVID, well, might think that it's a good idea to sponsor us to be able to go out and do this. So, excuse me. So, yeah, it's basically the funds to go out, so that as soon as we are able to move, that we're ready to move out there and start handing out more of these bands, talking to the people. You know, we've got ideas to do other reflective gear that we can hand out to the people that ride on the carts, stickers that we can put on the back of the carts for reflective things, because of so many animals getting injured by being hit, along with you know, the mineral blocks. It's no good talking about feeding the animals. It's just huge amounts, tonnage that you have to try and get in and to feed them. So that's why we came up with, like what Kate said, with the mineral blocks, because at least they're getting the correct nutrients into them. And animals in our areas that we worked in, that the previous years, so many had died. When we were there, none of them died through malnutrition because they had these mineral blocks. So yeah, the donkeys didn't get fat, but they survived, and their progeny, you know, the foals, they were able to get those nutrients when in the mare's tummy, basically, and they were able to get benefit from those minerals and came out with stronger bones, and so they had a start in life. And that's what it's about, because when there's no nature conservation and there's no grazing for them, and the nutrients are the most important thing to help them get strong bone and to become healthy animals.
Yeah. And if so, we've got a question coming through from Belinda Bennett, and she's asking if someone wanted to donate, how would they do that?
If you go into our Facebook page, Voice of a Donkey, there is a button there that you can learn more. And if you go on to learn more, then it tells you how you can donate. Also, if you go on to voiceofadonkey.org, you'll see the story on Lucky. And if you scroll down, so you'll first get like the fifth story, and if you scroll down, you'll get the fourth, and so on. And at the bottom, you will get a learn more and a donate button that will help us. Thank you.
Excellent. I've pulled up the website, so I hope people will be able to see that back home if they want to donate. Okay, so I've only got one more question left, and then we'll start to wrap up. But if you're watching back home and you'd like to ask us a question, then please just pop it in the comments, and I will give it to Will and Kate for them to respond to you. We're already getting lots of lovely feedback coming through, by the way, you two. We're getting lots of people saying you're doing some awesome work. Inspiring to hear of your visions, so that those people back home are really appreciating the work that you do. And if you're watching this and it's not live and you do still have a question, then please again pop it in the comments and one of us will get back to you to help you with that. But for me, what I wanted to ask is, if there's people out there who are inspired by your story and want to do something similar, what advice would you give them? What challenges can they expect to face for them to be able to do similar sort of work?
Well, as soon as this COVID thing is over, you can come out with us. We can make a plan, get there. If we have to rent a bus, then we'll rent a bus. If we have a 3-ton truck, well, then someone can ride on the back. But we can all go out and help. And it's a way of teaching. It is not a way. So it's to help the donkeys. We want people to come out, especially young people that can carry on this. Because I mean, I'm getting a little bit gray around the gills here, so I'm going to fall off my perch soon. So we need people to be able to take this on and go further with this. I mean, this is not something that can be repaired tomorrow. It's going to be a long-standing thing, and hopefully it'll be passed down from generation to generation. The way of teaching, so that the people understand what it's getting through. It's no good teaching somebody that doesn't learn. So we're advising and we're asking for help for people that when we are ready to go out, that you come. As soon as we've got the funds to be able to go out there, we want a team of people to come out that can learn, that want to help the donkeys and the people. Motto is to help the donkeys, to help the people, to help the donkeys, to help the people.
Yeah. That's a great motto. I love that. We've just got a comment coming through now from Chris Garrett, and he's saying that great words that you're speaking. And he said that he worked out recently that the income from donkeys could be from around £575 million to £300 million per day. Yet because they're not production animals, they don't even get listed in welfare rules of many countries.
That's right. Yeah.
See, now Chris Garrett is one of the foremost people in the world on harnesses and carts on the donkeys. Yeah. I mean, he has traveled all over the world, advising people and teaching people how to do this. Now, he'd be like one of the people that we'd like to get out there when we get a team of people and we can go out there and this damn COVID thing is over with. Then, basically, I'd like to take a page out of this COVID thing and maybe turn this helping donkeys into a virus. Into it, so that it just runs rampant, that the whole world wants to in turn come and help these donkeys. And I mean, Chris will be right there with us. He's one of the best.
Excellent. Again, we're getting some nice comments coming through. Stacey Staddlefield saying such wonderful, important work you're doing, and thank you both. I'm going to wrap up now. Is there anything that you two would like to say before we go?
Thank you very much to you.
Thank you. And thanks to all our supporters and everyone who's just coming on board. And yeah, we've got family, friends, lots of other supporters who just sort of really helped us through this time now.
Thank you very much to everybody.
Thanks, Kathleen.
No problems. And thank you everyone again for watching back home. I hope you've enjoyed this as much as I have. Remember to check out their Facebook page, Voice of a Donkey. And also, if you've enjoyed this and want to watch previous conservation interviews, then please head over to What Does the Giraffe Say Media, where there's lots of different interviews from people all around the world telling behind the scenes stories of their work. But from me for now, thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks.
Thank you. See you all. Bye.